Hi guys, welcome back to this weekly outlook. Let's get started. So, let's start with the Euro pairs as always. So, this last hour we had a very strong push to the upside on Euro UD with this very strong candle, breaking the last level of support and resistance. So, this qualifies as a quite of a strong clean break. So, I'm considering a potential retest on the zone for potential trade to go long. Ideally, we don't know for sure if this is already the end of the impulse, but it's even better if the impulse goes slightly higher, as we had a much stronger bullish momentum, and we will potentially also have a 61.8. So that's why it will be better if price continues to trend higher before pulling back towards zone in order to have a better trade. So at the moment, I'm just waiting to see where the end of this impulse will be. It's quite easy to spot as soon as price makes the high and starts retracing back to the key level. That will be the end of the impulse, and that will qualify as the swing swing we will be looking at for a trade. And we'll be also drawing the fib because the fib is always drawn from the bottom to the top. We don't know for sure if this is the top yet. So as soon as this top uh, s- um, is formed, we can know where we could put the fib tool. And if we put the fib tool, let's say it makes the top here, then we will have a 61.8 fib on the key level, which is a good signal for a trade to go long. Euro CHF, um, this setup was covered on the last weekly outlook and is still valid. So we have this potential level of support and resistance, which could be retested, as we also had a clean break and a 78.6 fib exactly on the key zone, lining up with this new formed bullish structure. So if price forms manages to retest on this key level, I'll be looking for the trade to go long. Euro-MXN, this is a potential head and shoulder setup, which is forming right now almost. It's very close to the neckline. So we have a left shoulder, head, and potentially a right shoulder. If price pulls back on this neckline area, then I'll be looking for a trade to go short in line with the head and shoulder setup. It's quite clear that we have potential inversion setup as we have a uptrend scenario where price makes higher highs and higher lows. We have a first break of structure here where price made a new low, a lower low, because price broke out of this previous low here. So price made a new lower low and will be potentially retesting this neckline for a trade to go short. If we have price rejection on this zone, that will confirm the trade. So we need to see a entry indication on the key on this key area in order to take a trade. UNZD, this pretty much took off already, but it's still valid to enter this setup. So I'm waiting for this breaker retest to play out to retest on this lower area, along with a 61.8 retest. So pretty simple and straightforward. Um, Clear uptrend with higher highs and higher lows. Price made a new high, breaking with a strong momentum the last level. We have a 61.8 adding confluence to the level. So I'm just looking for price retest on the zone in order to look for a trade to go long. Euro USD, this was covered on the last weekly outlook. It turned out to be a successful trade. Price tested the zone I was waiting for exactly like perfectly on the key area, and we had an entry indication on the M30 with a strong rejection wicks on both candlesticks, as well as a bullish engulfing candle engulfing the previous candlestick. Another entry indication of the being this bullish engulfing candle and those two rejection wicks, as well as this strong bullish engulfing candle, which engulfs this previous candlestick here, as you can see. Though all these three were all good entry indications, and then price started to take off with so much strength. Yeah, at this point, price is really more in a sideways trend. It's August. Markets tend to be a little bit slower on August. So I would classify this as a consolidation area, price being sideways. So at this point, I wouldn't really look for a trade. Although we did retest this level, as I expected, I told you guys that I was waiting for the retest on the last weekly outlook. That price would have retested its zone and rejected, and that's what happened. Price tested its zone and started dropping. At this point, price didn't manage to make a new low here. It formed a higher low instead. So it's pretty much contained in this range without showing any clear direction. I'm just waiting for a break on either side of this triangle area. So any break above or below will show a potential direction on in the trend. We'll see in the next few days. GBP looks like it's already taken off, but it's a clean break and retest to go long. I was looking for this retest here. If price makes a strong rejection from here, then I will still look for this trade. But the strength of this currency pair is looking like it's going to make a new high probably. So if it makes a new high, I would say this setup is not valid anymore. If it doesn't, I will wait for the retest on this key zone for a trade to go long, in line with the overall trend being bullish. This was also a really good trade as well that I didn't take, but you could see on the lower time frames we have a clean break, slower retest, and entry indication rejection on that zone and continuation higher. It was a very good trade if you caught this move. GBP and ZD as well, same thing. We have a strong clean break, so we test. Price is taking off, but if it rejects from this area and drops back on the zone, I'll be looking for a trade to go long. So rejecting this key area for a potential scenario to go long. GBP USD took this trade here, but I got out break even with a small profit. I took some partials around here. Now price is trending lower, making a new low. So I would say it's not really valid to look for an entry indication to go long at this point. This price, as you can see, broke this low and oh, it's already testing potentially. Maybe can start trending downwards. We'll just wait for a clear trend at this point. We don't really have much to say on this pair. On USD pairs such as these ones, there's not really much. AUDJPY, this was covered on the last weekly outlook, but it was a bit of a harder trade to take, let's say. I was still looking for this trade where I got stopped out. Um, from this point, price started to trend lower, making lower lows, lower highs, and I took kind of an aggressive trade here on the test of this zone with this break and strong rejections here with a three candlestick pattern and a bearish engulfing candlestick. Um, pretty, yeah, a little bit more tricky, not really a trade I would recommend if you don't trade for that much time. So, but yeah, we always respected the market structure and price going lower. So now price is in a current market structure to go short, to probably test these lower areas. So if price continues trending lower, there's a very high chance that price will reach this lower area and reject, as I was expecting on the drawing I had made on the one of the last weekly outlooks. NZD-JPY, this is another trade that was shared, I believe last Sunday. Yeah, I believe last Sunday. And that's where price rejected. We have quite a strong drop, almost stopped out here. Some brokers would have stopped you out with because of spreads. Um, but yeah, we're all tested the key area I was looking for with a 1.46 risk to reward ratio. NZD USD. We have a potential head and shoulders with this neckline. This being the left shoulder, head. Break below, as you can see, I always look for price closing below the previous low. So price making a new low in this candle closure. We come from this very small uptrend scenario, let's say momentum of higher highs and higher lows. Price broke below. I'm now looking for the pullback on our zone, on our key neckline. If we have a rejection on this level, then I'll be looking for a trade to go short on NZD/USD. If we don't, I will just stay away because it's not really a clear trend at the moment. SPX 500, S&P, I'm looking for this potential pullback on this key zone. For a simple trade to go long, as always, just wait for the entry indication on the zone. The zone is exactly between the Fib 61.8 and 78.6, which is the kind of retracement I always look out for. We had strong momentum on the break, so this qualifies as a good strong impulse on the break, and yeah, just looking for this slow retest on the zone for a potential trade to go long. Nasdaq is similar as well, but it's a bit more aggressive. Um, yeah, I'm just waiting for a stronger entry indication on this trade. We don't have much of a strong indication, and on lower time frames, this sort of trend is downwards. So I'm looking for a break of this downward trend. As soon as price breaks above this level, if it does, only if it does, and makes a new high with a candle closure above. Even better if it's above here. Then I will look to enter a trade to go long on the retracement. If something like this happens, I'll be looking for this trade, respecting market structure and price rejecting the key zone, actually, and also in line with overall medium time frame trend. So I just want to see price giving a better confirmation in this scenario because this structure on the retest is quite bearish with a very clear lower lows and lower highs. So yeah, of course, bullish break and a bullish smaller structure will give me an entry indication to go long in this case to continue and make new highs. US oil, this is currently a potential trade. I mean, already, this is a trade based on the gap. Um, I sometimes when price over the weekend can make gaps where we have gap of prices here. Gaps tend to always be filled. Usually when price fills the gap, it tends to go in the opposite direction. So if you have a gap, let's say a higher, there will be a potential trade to go short in between this gap. So as you can see, price tends to fill these sort of gaps and drop. Here, this was could have been a potential setup here, a trade to go short and a drop, but I felt like it didn't fill exactly the entire gap. I usually look for at least 70% of the gap to be filled, which can be seen also with the fib. If you draw it from here to here, you can see that 78.6 around in between these levels is usually the amount of gap we want to be filled. And it filled exactly right here. So this was kind of an entry indication as soon as I saw price rejecting. This is also in line with the trend. So I don't just trade based on gap. I don't just look at the gap and say take this trade, but I look for also a correlation with the trend. Here the trend is clearly bearish. So we have an upwards gap. I trade the gap to go short here. So price fills the gap. We test on this, let's say, gap, reject the areas, and then drops. So that's the idea between the gap trading on the gaps. So to give an example, if we have let's say a gap on this uptrend, let's say price opens here, and here we have a gap. You want to wait for the pullback on the gap and then look for a trade to go long here. Okay. Instead, for an downtrend, if let's say we have a gap here where price stops trading, then continues here, we want to wait for a retest on this gap as you can see, and then a drop. So you take a trade to go short here, and you take a trade to go long in this scenario here. So that's simply how you trade gaps. You want to trade with market structure, look for gaps, and trades on the when price fills a gap and go in the opposite direction. So it does a drop, fills the gap, and goes in the opposite direction. It's sort of like a support and resistance area, sort of areas where price retest and go for an inversion. So this is exactly what happened here and what I'm trading here. Simple fill the gap trade in line with the trend, which was also confirmed by this strong rejection week, as you can see here, and price was still rejecting. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover. We definitely have, even though it's still August, we definitely have many potential trades for this week. Even though on GBP pairs, price is already moving with lots of momentum. So we'll just wait for potential trades. For example, those head and shoulders, they all look good. Potential trades, S&P 500, if we have a retest, that would be nice. And of course, Nasdaq as well. If we have a market structure break with lower time frames aligning with the bullish trend. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. As always, guys, thanks for watching. This is recorded, so you can rewatch it on the YouTube channel, and it will be posted actually immediately after this session. So um, thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you guys on the next weekly outlook. I might do one more this week, maybe in just already in 2 or 3 days, because this weekend I won't be available to go on the live session. So I probably anticipate and make one more live session this week. I will let you know on Telegram and on Discord. All right, guys. Bye bye. Thanks for watching. You're welcome, Sober.